planning and zoning meeting, now formally open. Do we have, okay, citizens comment, huh? What's it?
Well, it's just counting.
We have a quorum.
Yeah, we have a quorum.
We're only missing Emily, because she
Freaking
had
me
it.
out, dude, freaking me out.
Don't do it
He
in
just
your
had to
head.
interrupt, that's what he had to do. Okay, so, the next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. Now, these are comments related, non-related to our, open meetings and any topics pertaining to the open meeting that
Public
we.
hearing. Public hearing.
What's that?
Anything regarding the public hearing.
Oh, not public meeting, public hearing.
This is the open
Yeah,
meeting.
this is an open meeting.
You guys, so detailed. Okay,
Like a book report.
I know. Well, I'm not good at those either. So, anyway, do we have any? Do we have any
Nothing was called in prior to
citizen
the
comments? These gentlemen are part of the public hearing. There we go, terminology being everything. So we will move on to the item, agenda item number 3, which is approval of the March 13th meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to gander? Any corrections, insights, wisdom? No?
I just had a question. There's a talking about a Kenworth's property.
Yes.
Kenworth Sales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's just identified as Kenworth's
Oh,
property.
it's the business
Truck repair.
down below the, adjacent, I think, across the
Across the
road.
street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the property in question of the public hearing.
Where is
So if
that?
it's a business, I would suggest using the full name,
Kenworth Sales.
because otherwise it just looks like an individual.
I can go.
Okay.
Well, we all know what it
So-
means.
Yeah, but
I
people 100 years
that.
from now.
That's
anyway.
true.
So.
If that's the only correction, I can make that change.
do we need
That's
to
not a
make
big deal.
Motion to make that change, or?
You could motion to approve
Amend
the
With the
minutes.
With that
recommended
change.
With
change.
the,
Okay.
yeah, with the
So I will
suggested
make
change.
that motion to approve
We
that.
have a motion.
I will second.
Meeting minutes with the correction of Kenworth to Kenworth Sales.
Thank you, Kevin, and we have a second with Gabe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
she's
All right, Kath, I gotcha.
There's that delay.
Aye.
Okay, approved. Our next agenda item is the approval of the reason statement of relevant criteria and standards approving zone change application ZNC 24-2 by Joe Greco. And for a refresher, this is to, it's not incorporate, it's the
Annexation.
annexation, thank you, see?
Well, the reason
The
statement that you're
reasons-
approving is for the zone change. The annexation and the comp plan map amendment were,
They were already approved.
yes, you guys did that the last meeting for a recommendation to council. This is just
Okay.
that reason statement that goes for the zone change.
Which has been drafted, and we are now to vote on it as to forwarding it as drafted.
And I will make a motion to go ahead and approve that reason statement for ZNC 24-2.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Kathy. All in favor of approving the reason statement?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Are you abstaining? Yeah. Okay. One abstain.
One abstain. Abstention, is that the formal way to bracket that? Okay. So,
Source.
agenda item next is the continuation of the public hearing from March 13th, 2024, and subsequent deliberation and direction staff regarding the reason statement of relevant criteria and standards for application ZNC 24-1 by 3D Stout LLC. And as we left it 2 weeks ago, there were some questions, I believe, that were to be answered, which they have been. We've received them. Jennifer, were you gonna restate those for the record?
Again, yes. My name is Jennifer Tangano, Assistant City Attorney for the City of Lewiston. The first question that I'll address is the one from Commissioner Branson in regards to whether or not the adjoining property owners must all consent to the rezoning of the property. There is no provision in city code or Idaho code that requires adjoining property owners to consent to a rezone of a property. There was information within the packet that did describe that as it relates to annexations, specifically a Class 8 annexation, which is what the other public hearing was last meeting, was a Class 8 annexation. So it was likely that that information was just confused. As far as the second one about whether or not the public hearing notices were properly sent, I reached out to Katie. She keeps detailed notes about the mailings and the process that she takes on the backside to ensure that there's compliance with the various requirements with Idaho code. Her and her staff did keep notes that they compiled all the mailings on February 16th and that they had sent them to City Hall and they were presumptively mailed on the 20th. And the reason why I say presumptively is because City Hall has a batch mailing system. I checked the batch mailing codes for the week before and the week of the 20th, and that particular date was the only date that had an excess of the number of mailings required for this particular rezone. We don't keep track of the specific each piece of mail that gets mailed, and so based on that, it's presumed that those mailings were sent on the 20th. Specifically, it was under the Community Development, Planning and Zoning Batch Code. Community Development has several different batch codes that City Hall uses. It's just to make sure that each particular department gets billed their respective mailing costs. Beyond that, there's not a way for us to determine whether or not a particular piece of mail was mailed because we don't send them by certified or return receipt requested. As far as I can tell, it appears that all the requirements were done to get the mailings out, and since the neighbor received the mail, it's more likely than not that a mailing was sent to him, and for whatever reason, they either didn't get it or they did get it and didn't realize that that's what the mail was.
Commissioners, do we have statements or questions regarding that second query by our citizen of last meeting regarding the mailings? Okay, I do have one. Katie, how long have you worked in the planning and zoning in the current position you were in?
4 years.
4 years. And in that 4 years, have you used the same tracking system and record keeping regarding public hearings and mailings of such?
For the most part, we have, I would say, improved certain trackings because of people stealing signs and other things. So we have kind of a more really exact process now. So one, everything is tracked by, when emails are get sent out. I can also track, when things are printed in the large batches. Our building inspector is the one who posts the signs on site, and he takes a photo so that it's timestamped with his camera on his phone and then emails that to us so that we can keep that record also. We take a lot of steps to make sure that we are meeting the code properly.
And those steps have been put in place because of previous arguments about receiving or not receiving mailings?
The photos specifically, because like I said, we did have a public hearing where someone physically removed the signs from the posts. And I was alerted to that and went out and saw that that had happened. And someone brought that up at the public hearing that, the site wasn't posted, even though the site had been posted with actual 3 signs because it was a corner lot. And so after that, we started taking the photos. But the rest of the things are kind of just normal part of the process. It has to be done a certain number of days before, so you kind of schedule that for yourself. You know that it has to go in the mailing box by a certain date because it has to go to City Hall because it doesn't get mailed directly from our building. All those processes are kind of just built in whenever we take in an application and we schedule everything out.
Okay, final follow-up question. Since it is then transported over to City Hall for pickup, I'm assuming that there's daily mail pickup at City Hall?
Correct.
Thank you. And that's Monday through Friday during office days?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any idea when that last pickup is?
It goes out at like 9:30 in the morning.
From your spot or from City Hall?
I don't know when their actual mail
Okay.
pickup is. I
That's
think
fair.
that someone drops it off.
It's in
Okay.
the afternoon
Yeah,
that they do it, because you can drop off your own mail.
Of course.
Yeah, because I think it goes over in the morning and then someone from City Hall physically takes it to the post office, because the city also has
Oh,
a
yeah,
PO box
okay.
at the
Mhm.
post office. And
Yes.
then they pick up everything from that PO box and bring it back, and it gets distributed to go back to you the next morning.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There are businesses in town that do it the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as does the university.
And before that, what happens, once it gets picked up from the various departments, then a staff member goes and does the mailings, because we have a batch system, so we get it at the mailings at a reduced rate. And so they enter it and they do it by department, and there's a department and a sub-department codes for each area, so.
Per piece.
Yeah, so like each time I do a mailing, I send basically a brick, right? And I'll have everybody's label on it, they're all sealed, I rubber band them, and then I'll have a sticky note with what it is and what my planning and zoning mail code is. And that way they program that in so that we get charged for that, and they send it through that batcher to put the printed stamp on it.
Okay. In light of that information, without actually driving it out to individual homes, I believe that there is a pretty tight process and tracking approach. We certainly are not in charge of USPS, but getting it to them seems to be very fixed and routine. So,
And city code also calls out section 37, 194, paren B, paren 4, says failure of any person to receive the notice prescribed in the section above. So that's a section that tells you all those things that I have to do, shall not impair the validity of a hearing. So we can follow all the procedures in the world to make sure that we are processing the stuff out. We do not have to guarantee that they received.
I
Or
appreciate that.
opened it or read it.
Correct.
Okay, so with that said, before, yes.
I do have a follow-up
Yes.
question, actually, if you don't mind. And so for this particular hearing, the property was also posted.
Yes.
So at any time driving past it, anyone could have seen that the property was clearly posted.
In the meeting, if I can respond to that, the citizen that did bring up the concerns and the lack of receipt did in fact comment on the posting on the physical property
Yeah,
because he
that's
was
right.
discontent with the size of the flyer.
That was a
No,
different,
that was the other
Oh, it was
hearing.
the next guy.
That was the other one, yeah.
Hold
Okay.
on.
Oh, that is correct.
There's my sign right there.
There we go.
There it should be,
So
right there.
anyone, so the
Okay.
resident.
And actually, there was two on that property just because the span of road is so large, but it's not super safe for me to pull off other places, and I didn't really feel like trekking all the way down. But that is where,
If I were driving that road to and from my home on a daily basis, I would very obviously see it.
you'd
yes.
see something there.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to necessarily see the
Hey,
words unless
Could
you
you read it
stopped
from
and
the
looked.
car? No. Could you see that something is there? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it meet the statutory requirements for the posting?
Yes.
Yes. It also, and also, it's been established with the code and then with city processes that it also is listed in additional places beyond just a sign and a mailing.
Yes.
So there are other opportunities for either that individual or any other individual to become notified that there's a public hearing.
Yes, and I did confirm the publication, that wasn't necessarily the question that was presented, but I did look at that and it was published on February 25th.
Additional follow-up questions?
The applicant have any rebuttal?
That was my next question, oddly enough.
You're gonna come up and say.
You know, I guess like, yeah, I thought about it. I'd like to just clear something up, I guess that,
Name first, sir.
my name is Doug Stout, so I'm the manager of 3D Stout LLC. This is my son Trevor. I just wanted to follow up, it's just a clarification that he made an accusation about my family not being on board with this. My family's totally on board with this. There's two other brothers and me. Our nephew rents the property. Everybody's on board with this. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarify that with you guys. I don't know where he came up with that accusation. But anyway, that's what I wanted to clarify with you folks, just to make sure that, you know that we're on top of this and on board with this.
Though I appreciate your desire to do that, we are not in any way, shape, or form about your family business.
Correct,
If
and
you
I
can't
realize
legally sell it, then
Yep,
then
yep,
you
and-
can't legally sell it.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that it didn't cause anything amongst, the committee.
I don't believe that was a
would-
concern.
Would do anything, but that's all I had. I think Katie did such a great job of explaining everything. I don't know what more we could add other than, for us, this is an important piece of property for us to go this route for us, our families, farmers and cattlemen. This is a piece of property that we've looked at and can give this property up. It's not required for cattle or for farming and for anything. And we think this is the best fit, because the port is right next to it and it's gonna be, that they're gonna come to the zoning and ask for that to go from agriculture to port zone. So, and that's right adjacent to it. You got McCann's right below that. That's the same property. I think this area, it's just the fit for what I see or what we feel that this area is going to,
Which is why you're in front of this board,
Exactly,
to do what you choose to with your property.
exactly, yeah, so, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Kathy?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stout. Kathy?
Yes, I do
something?
have a question.
Okay,
And maybe for Katie, I would like to see the map again. I want to just see where that residential property is
Sure.
on the map.
Do you guys want me to go through, just for a refresher for everybody, I can go through the presentation again, just, we do have a
Absolutely.
commissioner with us who
It
was
might-
not
yeah,
with us at the
might be
last meeting.
beneficial.
That might be best.
yeah.
Okay,
Wing it.
let's do that.
2 weeks is a long time nowadays.
Right, okay, so as a reminder, property is approximately 17.6 acres, it's vacant ground, does have some cows on it, we'll see some pictures of that. It does have a residential property to the east, so this is 1520 Bassview Drive, right?
Excuse me, could you show us exactly where that residential property to the east? I was confused on that.
It's right here, so see the black outline of the subject property? Residential property is right next
Yes.
door.
Oops.
Hold on, my screen might not be showing, there we go. Okay,
Oh.
so
there we go.
residential property is right next door. This long skinny property here, you can see his house is
Okay.
here and he has this very, very large shop right here.
Right,
So,
okay.
and looking at the zoning map, this kind of neon color covers the subject property again, outlined in black. And then this is where that house is, right? This is where the M1 is, right across the street. This is where Kenworth Sales is, down here at the bottom.
Okay,
There are
gotcha.
some different storage businesses, a couple different joints in here, and then Sutton Salvage, which is owned by the residential property owner, is this up here that is located in the county.
Okay,
So then moving on, pictures of the property itself. So I'm standing at the entrance to Kenworth Sales, so right across the street from subject property, so you can see the cows, hello moo cows, hanging out up there. You can see that there is quite a bit of topography going on, so there's kind of a flat bench area up here. You can see there's kind of some wall sort of situation where it, the topography of the land goes up quite a bit right there at the roadway. And then there's kind of a draw over here, and then it flattens out where you see the cows. And then looking kind of pivot, you can see this is the single-family dwelling. So it is right next door, if you would call that many hundreds of feet right next door. But it is, I mean, their property's fairly large too, you can see on here. So this entirety is their property. They enter their property from the county in all actuality, so they can't enter from Old Spiral Highway. They go up and there's a road that starts way up here. It's a shared driveway situation with the other neighbor that's over here on the corner to enter their property. And then this is the entrance where I'm standing. So Kenworth Sales is down here, and it kind of wraps around this curve that goes right here. You can see their large sign here. So their entrance kind of wraps around and goes around this curve, and they have their offices and truck shop and then the different buildings that they utilize for their business, located down there. This is pivoted the other way, so you can see the jail, Bromling Steel is over here, FedEx is a little bit farther back. A lot of this is port property that has not yet been developed. Right below is not owned by the port, I believe that is McCann property. And then there's more port property over on the other side, on the western side of where Old Spiral Highway comes kind of through. And then looking down, so again, here's my sign. Subject property, again, you can see the topography and how it's much taller than the roadway itself. That's all my pictures. Anything else you would like to see?
I have another question.
Sure.
So bring up that map, that one that's green with the outline, whatever, yeah, that one right there, and the residential house. I see there's this 25-foot setback from the backyard. So what is the setback from a building, an industrial building to the property line?
In the M2 zone, hold on. So the M1 zone only has a requirement for a side or rear yard when abutting a residential zone. Agricultural transitional is not necessarily considered a residential zone, even though there is a residential use.
Correct. Okay.
So technically, there would not be a setback. Whether or not that's how the property would actually be developed is a different story. I mean, like I said and showed in the pictures, there are topography challenges with the property. Not all of it is going to necessarily be considered buildable. I think they're going to look at utilizing the flatter portions of the land. You can see from the picture that I took, you can see that the house sits quite a bit of a ways up from the road. And similarly, there's this, see how there's this very large hill over here? And I can probably pull up the topography maps from the city website and show what that difference in height is. But the flat portion is, you know, quite a bit over here.
Right.
When you, Katie, if you can pop down to the next photo down. I mean, you can see that there's a
Dramatic elevation.
huge dramatic, and that's not it's not a straight up and down, that's a pretty sloped hillside.
And if I can piggyback onto that, based on the colored one that shows the direction the house points, the house, even though this is the backside view, the house is only catching a very small fraction of a wedge of the full property in question.
And quite honestly, the house is currently front and rear overlooking commercial property.
Yes, no, I'm just saying that any building, they're not gonna climb the hill and they're not gonna build a skyscraper.
Yeah.
Would you like me to show the map with topography?
Please,
Would that
that'd
be
be great.
helpful? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And while she's pulling that up, I just wanted to point out, in section 37-92(3) of Lewiston City Code, for an M2 zone, the limitations on use section, it does say all service, processing, and storage on abutting property, on
M1
property
zone.
abutting M2?
M1 is what we're.
Oh. I thought this was an M2.
No, it's M1.
Hold on. I'll follow do the
Never
same
mind.
thing with the M1, hold on.
M1, different rules.
Okay, same same provision, section 3787-3, all service processing and storage on property abutting or facing a residential zone or through highway shall be wholly within an enclosed building or screened from view from the residential zone or through highway by a permanently maintained site obscuring fence at least 8 feet high, approved from landscaping material or a combination thereof. Even though it says that, technically, Mr. Sutton's property is not in a residential zone, because he's already, in that other zone, so that's
The
one of the
agriculture zone.
consequences of building a residence within a non-residential zone.
Stole my thunder, I was gonna bring that up
That's,
right here.
that was gonna be
I
my
know,
point too.
3787 and 3788.
That was gonna be my
Don't worry,
point,
I've got more.
point two. Mr. Sutton could have
Yeah.
sought
Erin, can you share,
a zone change.
this map, my screen again, please?
So yeah, you're looking at the house sitting at 1,070 and the baseline of the property being around 1,010.
Yeah.
60-foot elevation.
City of Lewiston one, sorry.
Standard 60-foot elevation change.
Oh, there we go.
That was the same issue we had with the billboard up on
Okay.
17th. 60 feet that's a 3-story or better building that would have to be there to even come close to.
It's 10 of me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, actually, that's more than 10 of me, but.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So you can see from the top of the
It's a
neighboring
story.
property, it starts at 1080 and goes down to 1010, so there's a 70-foot
I'll
drop
take it.
from top to bottom there.
And you're at 969.
What are we at, 10? No.
Even if you cut the
So
baby
it looks
in.
like the house sits at about 1,000. And kind of that flatter area, that's over a bit, is maybe at 1040, 1030.
50, 1060.
Cause then you have like,
got
you can
that
see there's
dramatic
quite a
drop.
bit, it's pretty steep
Right there.
And
right between the properties. You can see
Yeah.
those are 10-foot intervals.
Yeah, cause it goes,
So
yeah, it goes up.
1070 sits at the
1030,
property
1020.
line and then we're bopping down
So
to.
it levels out at about 1010.
And then at the very bottom,
Good
we're at like
60.
1010.
Yeah,
Which is why people build on ridge tops.
yeah.
Which is a 60-foot, I mean, they would literally have to be building like a
No, it's
3
usually
to
so they can
4
see
story
everything and be better.
building to even come close to interfering with a line of sight.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have that big rate.
all right, additional follow-up questions for Katie? Everybody satisfied with the scope, scale, and questions answered, correct? So, Mr. Sutton, do you have any additional follow-up feedback you would like to offer? Or, sorry, Mr. Stout, forgive me.
No, I'm great.
Okay. Okay, well, barring any pushback from anybody else, we should close the public hearing and begin our discussions over the criteria.
so,
So,
are you closing the public hearing?
I am. Okay.
Sure.
Good, all right. Public hearing, what is the number?
PNC 24-1.
CNC 24-1 public hearing is now closed, and we will begin reviewing and discussion of relevant criteria and standards on a zone change. Okay. We have 5. The first being the proposed rezone, and again, as a refresher, this is going from ag to M1, that is the application's request. Proposed rezone is or is not in general conformance with the Lewiston Comprehensive Plan. So, Kevin, you wanna start us off on your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, I thought about this a lot over the last couple of weeks. But I have to come down on the side of is, and primarily because in reading the, comprehensive plan, chapter 6, land use, goal LU-20.0 is so to encourage the promotion of growth and development of the industrial sector of the Lewiston economy. Along with the next one, 21-1.
Dash one
2-1.
or 2.1, sorry.
Oh, just, just 21.0, provide adequate land for new and expanding industrial uses, so.
Gotcha.
So those two really, I mean, and the fact that there's M1 across the street, and so, yeah, I mean, that's why I say it is.
Okay, I appreciate it. Gabe?
I agree with Kevin. I think there's a lot of particular areas where this coincides with the use of the comprehensive plan, which includes expanding commercial areas for development is kind of my main takeaway, and this fits that.
I absolutely agree as well, and I think the fact that a large portion of the properties in the surrounding area are also already in or looking at going to this M1 designation, sets this area apart. It's an obvious area for this type of development, and I think we need to encourage it.
I haven't introduced myself. I'm Cindy. Your name
Shay?
is? Shay is, I can remember that. Shay, do you have any thoughts, comments you would like to share?
Learn, so.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. My thoughts as I do believe the port is already established, the port already owns its own properties. This is a private property. But because in fact across the street and down, it's fully developing that direction with the existing police station, FedEx, transfer station, et cetera. And that area has been slated for growth and more specifically slated for commercial or industrial growth. Getting it out of downtown, if at all possible. So I'm gonna go with what Kevin says. This fits not only the comprehensive plan and the city goals, it fits the property in question. We good? All right, the proposed rezone is in general conformance. Question number 2, or criteria number 2, the subject property is or is not at least as well suited or is better suited for the proposed zoning district than the existing zoning district. Okay, Shay, would you like to just continue as we do the criteria and listen? Okay, Mo?
I believe that the subject property is.
Damn it. I'm gonna back up. Sorry, Kathy, you really should be here. I need to look at your face. Do you have some thoughts? What's your
Okay.
Please.
If I have thoughts, you know me,
No.
I will break in.
No, that's
Oh,
true.
do I have thoughts on this one?
No, the first one.
Well, on the first one, I'm in concur. I concur.
There we go. Okay, now the second one.
Second
So,
one.
thank you.
I believe that the subject property is at least as well suited or better suited for the proposed zoning district than the existing zoning district. I think as we've already kind of outlined previously, looking at what the goals are as far as the objectives, since this is turning into a commercial zone and the expansion of those commercial zones, based on what's going on around it, I think it is probably better suited for that area.
I would agree with that. I would just also add to that based on the topography and then the adjacent types of zones that it fits with the environment that it's in, so.
Thank you. Kathy?
Okay, just a second. Oh, all right. I have to answer the right question.
You're discussing well-suited or better suited, number 2.
I think it's well suited because it abuts other commercial area that's only able to be leased, and this can actually be purchased for new commercial endeavors. It's adequate land. We need to assure that adequate land is available for new and expanding industrial uses. And so this would provide that, and that's in the comprehensive plan, LU 21-2.
Excellent, thank you. Kevin?
I would agree. I would say yes, it is.
Okay, my final thoughts on the existing property, obviously, it is well suited for ag. The cows look very happy. But it's within the city limits, and as we discussed in our previous meeting, there is city water mains right through the area, if I remember correctly, which means for development purposes, that's quite ideal as some of the utilities are already fully established. Therefore, in addition to everything that the commission has brought up, I believe it's better suited than the existing ag because of the utilities and the proximity and within the city limits. Therefore, number 2 is at least as suited, if not better suited. Our third criteria, the proposed rezone does or does not present, no reading glasses, mitigable impacts of incompatible uses or development being located in the same vicinity. So Kathy, why don't you start us off on that one?
Okay, I just want to maybe quote from Katie's analysis that North Lewiston is a preferred location because for industrial zoned lands and its close proximity to the port lends itself to creating a compact industrial area with easy access to the roads that are already there. So we have the ingress and egress already there, it looks like to me. And I don't know if that was my question, but I wanted to say that.
Will it present problems in the future, I think, if incompatibility?
I think that we have roads already developed, so I think that's really a positive.
Okay,
And it's already next to industrial area.
okay, thank you. Kevin?
I would say it does not present any unforeseen or unmitigable impacts. I mean,
Okay, Gabe?
I would agree with Kevin. I mean, during the testimony today and then at the public hearing a couple weeks ago, there was nothing in that testimony that really indicated to me that there would be any I'm gonna try and say that word, mitigable impacts. And I do also agree and appreciate Kathy bringing up that there already is infrastructure and roads leading to it, which makes it very compatible with the area. So I have to come down on the side, does not present foreseen mitigable impacts. That's a tongue twister. Ugh.
Okay, Mo?
I would agree that it does not present foreseen immutable impacts of incompatible.
See, you took the first word, which
Right.
makes it easier.
Right. I also think that one of the key things that we need to look at, and I think, Kathy was kind of pointing out as well, is the fact that, when we look at commercial use and things like that, one of the things that we want to do is try to prevent the slowing of traffic, flow of traffic, things like that through the downtown areas, avoiding that. Having commercial property located on what is already considered a truck route that does not impact residential traffic, including up to and including, regular school travel, things like that, regular services, ambulance, fire, et cetera. I think that is a huge benefit, and I think that should always be part of the goal, is to make sure that we're not impacting residential. And as Jennifer pointed out, the surrounding property is not technically residential, even though there are homes built there, they are in an agricultural, not in a residential area. So the expectation, should not be there that we should have to mitigate, that any incoming businesses should have to mitigate to a residential standard.
And Shay, you can hop in if you have a thought. We always want to hear them. Okay. For me, the only thing I would like to add, in my opinion, it does not present, because although this particular section, if approved, would be going to M1 instead of ag. It is flanked still by ag, and we were assured during the public hearing that the cows will still have plenty of rangeland and will continue to be present, so we're not even uprooting cows. And well, that's impact,
That
and we're
is.
not.
That is true.
Okay,
I agree.
so, I believe the development does not, and I believe the commission agrees. Number 3 is a good and gone. Number 4, the effects of the proposed rezone are or are not anticipated to place undue burden upon delivery of services provided by any political subdivision within the planning jurisdiction, including school districts. Although I believe Mo jumped ahead because that's how she rolls, go ahead and expand on that, Mo.
I believe that the effects of the proposed rezone are not anticipated to place any undue burden, like I said previously. I think, the biggest things that we're going to see there are going to be truck traffic, and that is already a truck route. It keeps, especially with what's going on right now with the Memorial Bridge redo, I hate watching the trucks go across there. We already see a ton of them with the mill being where it is, so I think that has a huge benefit to keep that commercial property on the north side of Lewiston.
Yeah, I agree with Mo. My personal litmus test with this is that whether any political subdivision actually responds saying that there's an issue, because I believe they have the opportunity to submit testimony or written documents stating that. None of that testimony came through, so I lean on the side of is not anticipated to place undue burden.
Kathy?
So I agree that it does not place an undue burden. Again, quoting from page 22, the old spiral highway is a collector road and the subject property is not on a city of Lewiston bus route. And the fire department and engineering division of public works have no comment.
Excellent, thank you, Kevin.
I'm gonna have to agree.
All right. I too agree on undue burden not being a part of this particular application or development should it move forward. The neighborhood, public infrastructure, et cetera. I think the city's already gonna have to take a look at that, join the highway connection as it stands. And with the police presence right there at the bottom of the hill, how convenient is that? So I think we're in great shape. I think that everything's there that needs to be there.
We might have to handle an errant cow.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's gonna wander down the hill pretty far by this time. Okay, and finally, our last. The size, the type, the intensity and density of development expected to occur on the subject property as a result of this rezoning is or is not suitable for the area and will or will not unduly burden the neighborhood, public infrastructure, and environmental resources. So this is a stretch in the sense of what it's going to become, but y'all have great imaginations. So Mo, lead us.
I would say that the size, type, intensity, and density of the development expected to occur on the subject property as a result of the rezone is suitable for the area and will not unduly burden the neighborhood. Like we kind of pointed out, the cows have plenty of space. It is not a residential area. There are already water and, built in to the area. The roadways already have the truck routes accessible. There is already access, and especially access to the port, so any commercial business looking to locate, I think that would be a huge benefit for them, from an infrastructure standpoint, being able to get stuff in and out easily and quickly and effectively. So I think it's a perfect location.
Yeah, I agree with Mo, and just probably restating what she said, but it's not changing the character of the neighborhood, which makes it suitable for the area. And as Mo stated on other cases with roads already being there, the public infrastructure already being there, it will not unduly burden the neighborhood or public infrastructure or environmental resources in the area.
Kathy?
I agree. I concur. I believe that it is suitable and it will not unduly burden neighborhood, public infrastructure, or environmental resources.
So I'm gonna say that it is suitable, and it will not unduly burden, because, I mean, I just look at, the limitations in section 3787, because I can certainly understand the fears of the neighbor, as far as that goes, but with the reading over the limitations, I have to say that it'll not burden the neighborhood.
Okay, and in my opinion, it will not burden, topography is going to limit, the number and sizes of the developments, selected. I believe the proximity, not only to services such as FedEx and the port itself, will draw business, which is a huge goal, for the city of Lewiston. And, regarding the neighborhood, Mr. Sutton can always pursue retroactively a zone change for his residents, but at this time, his concerns are not applicable as far as the flanking. And any business that builds in the space below will still have the, at minimum 40-foot elevation drop, which theoretically would limit blocking of his views. So I think that there are ways that the residents' concern that were brought up at the last meeting could be somewhat mitigated on his part, and certainly somewhat mitigated on the part of the development as that moves forward. So I will say that 5 passes the sniff test. And barring any further discussions,
I will make a motion to direct staff to go ahead and draft a reason statement approving ZNC 24-1.
I will second that.
we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? And 1 abstention? Okay. Then we now are moving forward on the reason statement to City Hall on approving a zone change from Ag to M1 on behalf of Mr. Stout and his partners. Okay, get that business signed, and I think that's our last agenda item as far as business, and our next is staff communications.
Okay, so we would like to introduce Shawnee Ev, but she goes by Shay Cable, who is our newest commissioner. So if everybody wants to go around and give your name real quick, I mean, most of you have name tags, but please say hi.
I am Maureen Anderson. Everybody calls me Mo, as you kind of probably figured out.
Yeah, nicknames happen here, so.
And I know we've met a couple times already. I'm Gabe Accavoni, and I've been on planning and zoning now for about 2.25 years, 2 1/3. I mean, so just on it long enough to know some things.
Be dangerous.
Kevin,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
And Cindy Ball, I go by Cindy, you can call me a lot of things,
And-
just record keeping. And then our last
I'm
member-
Kathy Branson, and I plan to attend in person next time.
Someday.
And we have, I believe, one other commissioner,
Yes.
Emily.
Emily.
who-
Emily.
Yes, Emily. You will meet hopefully on the next meeting. I'd like to say on behalf of the commission, thank you for putting
Welcome aboard.
And Cindy is the chair and Gabe is the vice chair.
We don't go
Unlimited
that much
power.
on titles, come on now.
They're the bosses. Actually, those two are the bosses.
those.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, barring anything,
I'm not done.
oh, Let her go up.
Okay, so, query for April 10th, so we'll only have the reason statement, and meeting minutes, so it should be a nice short one. But then plan on the April 24th meeting being a longer one, that will be a work session, we're going to go through the draft comprehensive plan.
Seriously? That's my birthday.
Then you can
Happy
be excused, my
birthday.
dear.
Happy birthday.
Look what they got
We can
you.
bring cake. I'll bring a
I mean,
cake.
I'll bring a cake, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm on
Don't
a
let's-
diet, I'm on a diet, let's review.
Just a reminder, like life happens, you don't have to be here for every single meeting. So if you're not gonna be here for
But the
meetings,
city
just
will
let us
fall
know.
You've been here enough meetings, we'll forgive you one
I know, I
little
haven't,
abstention.
I haven't missed, I've been very good.
Are we all gonna be absent? No.
But that's all that's gonna be on that meeting, there won't be any public hearings or anything else, they'll just be going through the comp plan stuff. And then I know the first meeting in May, I already have a public hearing, because we're not doing anything else on 24th, I got an application in today. So that'll be on the first, meeting in May, and I think that's all I know right now.
I just wanted to highlight
What else
that
do you-
I sent everybody information on a case, Renaissance Project Development LLC versus Twin Falls. I highly suggest everybody read it through. It's specific to planning and zoning and subdivision preliminary plats and reason statements and the criteria for those. It also addresses how sometimes even if a reason statement doesn't have all the necessary information, if it has things that can save it and the affected person that is appealing the decision isn't substantially prejudiced as a result, then your decisions can still stand, but it's important to make sure that you're stating the facts that you're relying upon, the decision criteria that you're using, and your reasons why for those decisions, so that when Katie and I assist in drafting those reason statements, that becomes your record that courts use on judicial review.
Are we doing pretty good?
Yeah, pretty good so far. I send reminders, don't worry. When I need to.
I think we've been doing good of late.
Right? Yeah, I've appreciated the going around and polling everybody, and it makes it a lot easier for us to put that together because these meetings are recorded and they do become a part of the record, at least for a certain amount of time, so that if there is an appeal, these videos are used as a part of that. So everything that's on the record is what actually gets used for judicial review.
See, we're not making our decisions willy-nilly. That is a court term,
Willy-nilly.
willy-nilly.
And we have been fortunate that we haven't had a whole lot of high profile or unwanted projects, so, at least recently.
And court, sitting in court is fascinating.
Yes, but they've been around in my tenure and I've only been here 2 years, so.
Anyway,
They might be coming again too.
You never
I'm
know.
sure, always
so
something.
I feel like we have very little, we have no power, but we have a voice, and it does target us, so. Thank you, Jennifer, for the reminders. I don't like my name in the paper. So, anything else? We good? All right, with barring any more pushback, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Thank you, Kathy. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
You're gonna have to abstain on this one.
Yeah.
She said.
She said aye. I saw it.
Excellent. We have,
Very well.
yeah, you'll fix that.
In the future,
Okay.
you wanna make sure you speak loud enough.
See you
so that
next
the
time.
recording's-
All right, see you, Kathy. Thank you.